Well, what I have today is a Victor Victrola the 6th. Now, this is Victor's second machine in their tabletop lineup for 1917. This machine was manufactured in 1917. I have it out today. I just finished the service on it, and the reproducer rebuild, the motor cleaning. I had to replace one spring. Well, actually, I replaced two springs because always a good practice if it's a double spring motor or a 3-spring motor, 4-spring, replace all the springs at the same time so they all have the same strength. Now, I used original Victor springs in this that I had in another spring can from another 1917 machine. They were in very good shape, so I used them both. And she's playing very well now. You can see this one actually has a dealer sticker on it. That is J.W. Jenkins and Sons Music Company. Sold by. They don't say where they are, but you never know. Somewhere in the U.S. Now, I acquired this machine from Raphael Cole, a well-known phonograph dealer in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is liquidating a very large and impressive estate collection, and he sold me 2 of these 6s. Straight out of the collection, they hadn't been touched. These machines have original, well, I won't go into the other machine just now, but this one has an original finish. It has not been refinished. It hasn't been sanded down. All I've done to it is clean it and put a little bit of polish on it to make it pop a bit, and that's it. What you are seeing is the original 1917 appearance of this machine. I rebuilt the reproducer, of course, with new gaskets. Now, sometimes you can find these machines with number 2 reproducers on them, even number 4s, because people upgraded. They kept them for many years. This was a $30 machine in 1917. It was a lot of money at the time, and people kept them. They didn't just throw them out when next year's model came along like people do with cell phones or whatever today. So this could have been around in someone's house well into the 1930s. Well, whoever had this one took exceptionally good care of it. Now, as we can see here, this has the benefit of a floating horn. That means the horn is it's a cast iron and steel unit. I'm sorry, cast and wood unit, and it isolates the motor from the inside of the horn. The old machines, the motor would kind of hang right here, and sometimes you'd hear motor noises mixing in with the sound of the record. Not this time. This one is isolated all the way to the reproducer. Much better sound, and it seals out all the little clicks and rattles of the motor. Now, the number 4 by 1917 was also sharing this design. And all the Victor machines like the 9, the 8, and so on. Now, this 2-spring motor was very common with Victor machines. It was used in the 6th. This was probably about this was the smallest Victor machine you can get that motor in. It was the same motor as used in the Victor the 8th, the 9th, and many of the floor machines, the smaller floor models. You'll find the motor in the Victor Victrola 80, the 90. It's all in there. It was very versatile, and a lot of British machines too. HMV used this motor design under license from Victor. Now, let's take a look at the machine around it. You'll notice, of course, it has the sound doors. This way, if you don't want it too loud, you can close the doors. The table's pitched a little bit, so they're not staying closed, but that's quiet right there. And if you want a little bit more, you open them up wide, just like that. Now, let's see if we get a look at the ID plate on there. The ID plate is Victor Victrola VI, that's 6-A, 357,508. That's 1917. This has the patent stickers underneath, which date it to October 8th, 1917. Now, you can see it's golden oak, quarter sawn, as Victor liked to use them. All original. And this machine, you see those 3 little holes right there? This had something mounted to it, probably a light, or though it could have been a toy. The 3 little holes remain. The light is long gone. They put a light here so you can see what you were doing on top of the record. This was before houses had extensive use of interior electric lighting, and sometimes they could be a little dark, so you put a little light there and you'd be able to see the record. That's your exhibition reproducer, which was original to this machine. Crank, of course. And one thing about these motors is they crank very easily, and you don't have to crank them 300 times. Just like 25 cranks and it's fully wound and you're ready to go. I always liked that about the 6th, and this motor in particular. Okay, and let's see how it sounds. Now, that is Send Me Away with a Smile, John McCormick. In honor of America's entry into the First World War, I happen to have this record handy, so we'll play this one. Release the brake. She spins right up.
say goodbye. Don't you hear the bugle call? And the fife and drum bid the fellows come where the flag waves over all. Though I love you so, it is time to go, and the soldier in me you'll find. When on land or sea they need boys like me, you would not have me stay behind. So send me away with a smile, little girl, brush the tears from eyes of brown. It's all for the best, and I'm off with the rest of the boys from my own hometown. It may be forever we part, little girl, and it may be for only a while. But if I fear we must, then in God is our trust. So send me away with a smile. When I leave you, dear, give me words of cheer to recall in times of pain. They will comfort me and will seem to be like the sunshine after rain. And mid shotgun shell I'll remember well, you've a heart of a soldier too. And that through this war I am fighting for my country and my home and you. So send me away with a smile, little girl, brush the tears from eyes of brown. It's all for the best, and I'm off with the rest of the boys from my own hometown. It may be forever we part, little girl, and it may be for only a while. But if I fear we must, then in God is our trust. So send me away with a smile. And it may be for only a while. But if I fear we must, then in God is our trust. So send me away with a smile.
And that was the great John McCormick on Victor's Red Label Batwing record. These records were reserved for Victor's premium performers, and they were the most expensive. I believe they were about $1 a piece at that time. Let's see if we can get that off there one-handed without destroying it. Yes. Put it back in its sleeve. And we'll play another. How about Stepping Out? That's Paul Whiteman. And this is the 20s, but that's all right. These machines were in use a long time. And it plays these records very well. These are all acoustic records. New needle for the next play. Always use a new needle for each play of a record. Needles are not expensive, and they're easily acquired. Records are not. They are expensive and sometimes difficult to find. Now, let's see. Next record. Spin it up. couple of records on the 1917 Victor the 6th. Now, on this machine, we had a broken spring. So what I did was I found another 1917 machine in my parts bin that was beyond help, really. Liberated the 2 springs, original Victor springs from it, put it in this spring can, because you always want to change springs in pairs, not by ones, because then you end up with one spring that has more power than the other in a multi-spring motor. And be it 2 springs, 4 springs, whatever. You'd always want to change them in pairs. Even if you're using used springs, always try to use 2 from the same can if they're both good. Otherwise, just put new ones in. But these were nice, strong springs in good condition, so there was no reason to replace them with new ones. And as you can see, it spins very nicely. Now, this machine has a completely original finish on it. That golden oak is untouched from 1917. It's never been messed with, molested in any way, and it's certainly not going to be touched by me. Victor loved to use that quarter sawn oak finish, and you can see it there, on its small tabletop machines like this. And they used mahogany later on in the 1920s. That became an option. A slightly differently designed case, but I'll probably do a video on those in the future because I do have one slated to be done pretty soon. Now, this is one of 2 machines that I recently acquired from Raphael Cole in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is a well-known antique phonographs dealer. He is in the process of liquidating an extremely nice and large collection from an estate. And I guess these machines were from the stuff the former owner hadn't quite gotten to yet. Hence the broken spring, a little bit of dirt on it I had to clean. Even the felt, you can probably see it there, it's faded, but it is original. This had a 12-inch turntable on it. These machines did. They'll play 12-inch records, no problem. And the other machine is slightly older. I believe it's 1916. I'll be getting to that one eventually. It's in pretty much the same condition, and I don't think that one needs springs, though. It just needs a really good cleaning, which is what these usually need. They sit around for many years. They get all gummed up in the motor. You have to pull the motors out, disassemble them, take everything out, including the springs from the cans, clean all that old nasty grease out of there, and replace it with good new grease, and they're usually as good as new. You can see how well this machine plays. And it's 100 years old. It's 100 years old, and it plays that well, as most I have machines even older than this that play equally as well. They were built to last a very long time, and they have. They really have. And there you have it. That is the Victor the 6th, the first of many you'll probably see on this channel as I start going through the ones in my collection. I believe I have, oh boy, 5 or 6 more besides this one yet to be done. This one is now completed. I have another one almost identical to it did years ago. And I'll be working my way down the list. You know, each one gets cleaned and serviced and get it playing again like it should. But I figure 1917, 100 years old, anniversary of our entry into the Great War, it would be a good opportunity today to showcase this particular machine. And there you go.